All right, hello, everyone. Welcome to this broadcast of the Mario Kart 64 One Try League. We got a great matchup here tonight between TheRealSlim and Absent. And let me just run through the rules with you guys real quick. I know a lot of you probably have seen this before, but just to go around, actually, I'll introduce you here to my color commentator, Ben. Ben, how you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you doing, TMP?
Pretty good. Would you like to run through the rules with our viewers here real quickly?
Sure thing. This is Mario Kart One Try League. We're in our third season here. And what we'll be seeing here today is the players will be running through a series of tracks that are picked by those players. And they only get one try. Normally, if you're running time trials, you're shooting for the best time, and you may retry a number of times, to get that time. But here we're doing one try only. If you pause, that counts as a DNF. And so these runners are going to do their best to get through each track as quickly as possible with only that single try. There are two jokers. You can use a fast lap joker once per match and a shortcut joker once per match. The fast lap, they end the race after the first lap, and they drive that single lap as quickly as possible. And the shortcut joker, they'll drive a track 3 laps for shortcut time, so you're allowed to use different tricks, jumping over walls or lap skips in order to achieve a faster time.
All right, thank you for that, Ben. And I think we're just about ready to start here. I just had to get the first pick in, and I think it's Absent picking first, as I believe he's the lower rank here. So just give me 1 second to get that. How's everyone in chat doing tonight? All right, so yeah, we'll be Absent picking first, and we'll have to see where he is going to take us. I haven't actually gotten the chance to see either of these players perform yet, so I don't know what we're going to see from them, but of course Slim is warming up on Wario Stadium, so who knows if he's going to see this pick when Absent makes it. Absent picking first, as I believe he's the lower rank here. All right, and so yeah, Absent's going to take us to Banshee Boardwalk. So could you tell us a little bit about that, Ben? What do we got to watch out for on Banshee?
There's a lot to watch out on Banshee. There are strategically missing guardrails, so you can go off the track into the water. There are translucent boos flying all around the track, and those will try to interfere with your view, making it easier to fly off the track. And then there's a series of really complicated turns through a structure in the middle of the track that are a really hard sequence of mini turbos to nail those.
Gotcha. Thank you very much. And I think, Ben, you might have a slight echo coming through on your end. Do you have the stream pulled up on your screen or something?
Yeah, I was hearing that as well, and I was hoping you were not, so I'm going to try and track that down. There's a lot to watch out on Banshee.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure where that's coming from, but we'll figure that out. And so here we go. We got Absent starting. They'll get this synced up momentarily. Absent start looking pretty clean here. Yeah, and so it looks like Absent did potentially go for the drop shroom. Gotcha. Thank you very much. And I think, Ben, you might have a slight echo. And here we go. Yeah, Slim's getting caught up now. He also did the drop shroom. They're getting this synced up right about now. There we go. And so we'll have to see when these guys come around to the line. Let's see what kind of differential are we working with. I think Slim might have a slight advantage here. Yeah, okay. That's more than I thought. That's about a 1 second lead for Slim after lap 1. There haven't been any major mistakes on Absent's side. It's just been cleaner driving out of Slim, who is the higher ranked player coming in. And yeah, I'm still not quite sure where this echo is coming from. I don't actually think it's coming from either of us broadcasters. It might be... I'm using Slim's audio, so I'm wondering if it's his audio. Let me see if I can flip that. There we go. Okay, we have taken care of the echo.
Awesome. With that, I'll come back online. I was trying to track it down and see if I had an errant audio source here.
You are all good, and it looks like there was a... Absent had a little bit of a slowdown going on, so this is going to be a track win for Slim by about a solid 3 seconds there, almost.
And that is a nice time. You can see it's actually just a bit 1.4 off his PR there for Slim, and that's a consistent time to drive during one tries.
Absolutely.
Over on the right here, Absent looks like he's either reset his time or he's maybe using a separate cartridge. So that would not be his actual PR. But you do see those flashing numbers.
Potentially, yes. And with that, excuse me, it will be the pick. We'll go to Slim. And so we can see Absent was testing out the waters here. This is luckily none of these players were literally testing out the waters. That would have been disaster for their time. But while Banshee is a mostly driving kind of course, which Slim did perform better, and you expect the better driver to perform better on a driving course, there is a little bit of variance that can happen with some of the tighter turns and such. But anyway, Slim is going to be taking us to Luigi Raceway. Talk about potentially the least varying track in this game. Can you tell us why? Why, Ben, is this track so... there's almost nothing that interesting to look out for on this course. So you might have to make up something.
Yeah, you really nailed it. The enemy on this course might be, a little slow on your mini turbos or going slightly off into the sand or the grass to slow you down. But there's no major obstacles. There's nothing at all that moves on this track. And so it's pure driving.
Yeah, and another thing to look out for is, will these players be attempting for the mystery boost? Around the last turn, you'll see some players, they'll use one mushroom and they'll try to clip the wall at the end of the shroom, and you can get a little bit of a speed boost driving over the off-road when you do that.
Okay.
Yep, you kind of have to hit it in the right section and get your...
It looks like we got another little bit of a
wall.
sync issue. Let me see if I can...
TMP is looking at that. Both players starting fairly cleanly. Slim did kind of bonk into the tunnel wall here, and it looks like he missed a mini turbo into the sand. And you see that shroom and that bonk into the wall at the end, attempting to get that mini boost. And a bit of a difference in the shroom strategy. You see Absent over there on the right going with the 0 shroom first lap. We'll see sometimes the 0-3-0 is used, and we may see used all 3 on this lap.
Yeah, I apologize for this. I'm not super familiar with some of the syncing stuff on here.
Both players having a relatively clean race. It looks like to me Slim may be ahead here. And he used a 1-2-0 strat, so he's got no shrooms left here on the third lap. Looks like Abstinent used 2 on the second lap and 1 here on the third lap. Slim comes across with a 142.80, and I think that will take it, but it's going to be close. No! Goes to Absent with a 142.17.
Nice race by Absent there.
This track is kind of all in the details. If you touch that sand or grass too many times, it doesn't seem like a major slowdown, but it really does add up.
Absolutely, and we have ourselves a match here as both players have taken each other's picks.
Yep, and I think Slim was trying to flex on this pure driving course. Yeah, but Absent has taken it.
Yeah, it was. It looks like to me it was most of that time was. It was at lap 1. I know you were commenting it. There was a difference in shroom strats, but that may have been part of it. So just like looking at the kind of equal time to laps. Yeah, it looks like that lap 1 difference may have been it. Yeah, and so the pick will go back to Absent here with the set tied back up.
It looks like he's going to take us to the snow, into Frappy Snowland, where both players are fairly similar here. There's not a lot that separates them in terms of their through lap times.
Yeah, but this is actually a pretty good pick by Absent, I think, as the lower ranked driver, because there's going to be more variance going on. You have to deal with explosive snowmen that are dotting the course, as well as the shroom spot can take you precariously close to a major out of bounds polygon, which can absolutely kill your run.
Yep, that's a good point. There's definitely a bit more variance here. I'd say this is a medium variance course with some obstacles to dodge, as you were mentioning.
Correct. And I guess it'll come down to, we'll see how risky these players take some of the, like, especially the shroom spot. And it can also come down to how much of the off-road these players come into contact with. And so let's get these players on the road. And here, I will figure out this delay in a second.
And as TMP was mentioning, driving on the snow for more than just a brief second does slow you down quite a bit. So that's something we'll be looking for in terms of small mistakes from these players. And you see Slim with the shroom spot there, pretty clean. Not the optimal line, which actually takes you threading the needle right between those snowmen, but a pretty safe line and not much slower. Oh, and Absent has nailed that optimal line right there, so that might gain him a little bit of time. Slim crossing with the 35.51.
And hopefully we'll get that. Hopefully here.
Okay, Absent about 0.2 faster. Alright, beautiful, we're synced up.
Thank you for covering the play-by-play, Ben. But yeah, right as we get here, it does look like, yeah, Absent does have a little bit of a lead here. I didn't see the exact differential.
About 0.2 at the lap.
Gotcha. I can't really tell who had the better shroom there. They both had some strong and weak points, and it honestly worked out pretty evenly for them. And
Okay,
Slim
looks like
gaming
Slim.
some team back, yeah.
Yeah, it might be ahead by point 1 or so.
I'm impressed. We haven't seen any like major mistakes coming up yet, and of course, as soon as I say that, we're gonna probably have a commentator's curse. Both players with decent shrooms, but they do take them a little conservatively. Slim gets caught up in the snowbank to the right, past the triangle of death snowmen. And it looks like
Absent.
Yeah.
Ooh,
oh wow, that was very close. I think the sync deceived us a little bit. Absent wins by 0.05 to take a 2-1 set lead.
Very close race and cleanly driven.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
We can see the CPU drivers there are not as good as our runners going into this round.
I gotta double check. I think. Yeah, Absent had his mic on. That was what got picked up over the stream there for a second. So Slim is going to a very high variance course of his own. He's taking us to Bowser's Castle, land of thwomps and lava. And this is something. There's a big difference actually between time trials and one tries here. Can you tell us, Ben, what these players want to deal with that they wouldn't normally have to do with time trials?
Yeah, so one rule is you're not allowed to race a ghost, which is a time that you previously recorded in one tries. And on Bowser's Castle, there's a strategy used where you use a ghost as kind of a dummy to distract these thwomps that track you throughout the one room of the course. And we call that a distraction ghost. They're not allowed to use it here, so they have to deal with avoiding those, and that can throw off your game and slow you down.
Absolutely. We ought to see how these players, how aggressively these players attack those thwomps. And also another thing is, like, if you're driving a little slower than like your PR pace, you may have to deal with like different cycles entirely and almost react at will.
Yep, that's a good point. There are many thwomps throughout the course in different configurations, and they always act on the same pattern from the time that you start. And as you get a good pace in time trials, you learn to know where they are. But if you make mistakes in one try, then you never know what's hiding around the next corner. It's also worth noting this maybe is a bit of a go back on the offensive pick from Slim, as he's ranked significantly higher here. Slim also looking to have the cleaner start so far.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely does look like, and that sync, I didn't even have to do anything. That was beautiful, and yeah, it does look like Slim is having the better driving here so far. Gets a little caught up on that spiral. Neither player has the ideal spiral. Slim working in that extra SSMT. And so Slim...
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, about a quarter of a second. How many thwomp hits do you think we're going to see?
Ooh, that's always a tough one. It depends. So far it's pretty clean, so these players are, I think prepared for what they're going to see in the sliding thwomp room, as we call it. But that can be a real variable, because you can hit that first thwomp almost before you see it, if you don't know in what position it's going to be.
Absolutely. Absent with actually a much better spiral than Slim on that lap. That, we'll see, does that make him up any time here? It does, just barely, about literally 0.05 of a second.
Oh, but Slim here hitting the bush on the shroom across the grass, so I believe he would have lost that time, and then he got hung up on the entry to the hallway.
Yeah, absolutely. That's gonna cost him big time as Absent making it to the stairs with Slim back on the bridge, unless we see Absent falling off into the lava after the spiral or something. I don't see any way Slim's bringing this on. I think Absent's gonna take the 3-1 set lead.
I don't know. You think Absint's been sandbagging on us here in Bowser's Castle?
I think so. I think he's trying to get himself a favorable position in the league, you know, and so he gets that track pick advantage. And Absent is popping off. You know, I think Absent is a little upset because I told him like 30 minutes before this match that, oh yeah, by the way, your match last week doesn't count in the standings because it was interdivisional, and I don't think he took that too well. So, we'll have to see. Is that inciting a little bit in him? He's like, I need to get my real first win on the board here. Is that what we're seeing going on? And apparently clicking the 3 did not give him a third point the first time because my mouse is broken. But now we have Absent taking us to Royal Raceway. So we have Absent taking us to another driving course.
This is an interesting pick, as there's not a lot here that can mess up the runners. It's more interesting than Luigi's Raceway, to be sure, but there's nothing really to trip you up.
Yeah, for sure. If I had anything in mind here, I think maybe that, like, early on in the lap, like the little hairpin over the grass hill, there you can get caught up on the wall there and lose a lot of time. Potentially bonking the wall around the shroom spot, the larger hairpin on this course.
And of course, we've seen even some very good players this one-try league get a little bit off on the big ramp jump and tumble off the mountain.
Yep, absolutely. We'll try to sync up this stuff here in a second.
Hitting the piranha plant and on the shroom spot around the large hairpin.
Oh, wait. That was my bad. Yeah, we're gonna have a long pause on Absent side for a second here because I forgot about adding numbers.
Okay. We're here to commentate, not to do math.
Yeah, exactly. But in any case, so I think Slim had a cleaner finish, and obviously Absent had the piranha hit, so that cost him a lot of time there. A good solid 3 to 4 seconds.
Slim with a clean cut, but not ideal over the hairpin jump there.
And yeah, Absent was not as clean as he'd probably like to see, and Absent is using what appears to be a 030 shroom strap, probably. He's going for the flap attempt. Is he going to go for the flat PR on stream? Is he going for the ultimate flex on Slim here? Or was he just... Or no, wait, I forgot. He just didn't get to use his shroom on the piranha hit, so must... I'm not thinking.
Yeah, I think his timing there got messed up, and he wasn't able to use that first shroom.
Yeah, my apologies. I forgot about the fact that because the piranha, he didn't get to use his shroom. So yeah, that much cleaner cut there from Absent, though.
Yeah, and I think I didn't see Slim's lap time. I think Absent had a 49.40.
Mm-hmm. And Absent going for one of the flap shroom spots. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was going to say he has to drive the hairpin now, as he did use that shroom across the grass. Maybe deciding he didn't want any more of that.
Oh, and that is not the ramp angle you like to see, and he gets the tumble, unfortunately. And so yeah, it'll be... Slim is still alive in this set. And perhaps, hopefully Absent is not getting hit with the 3-1 curse here. But in any case, that's a pretty solid victory out of Slim, a solid one try time past the castle and such. But anyway, speaking of driving courses, Slim wants to take us to another one. He's going to take us to Toad's Turnpike. And I mean,
And again, it looks like he may be trying to claw his way back in the set to 3-all. He's got about a second and a half here on Absent in terms of their time trial rankings.
and we had Ashley mentioning Absent Shrooms, referring to them as the Mr. Pitt Shrooms. Mr. Pitt, very well known for his alternative shroom strats, although he's even more known for his fence clips, or his fence clip pause out, the infamous pause out. And yeah, the classic Nintendo-ized ads. So it looks like we'll have a little bit of delay to add on here with the sync.
Oh, and Slim hitting the tanker right off. That's unfortunate. Those who don't know, all the vehicles on this course, when you run into them, they make you explode, because why not?
Oh yeah, of course.
There are many of them, and they travel in kind of set patterns, but if you get off your timing, kind of similar to Bowser's Castle, the traffic will be in different places, and sometimes it can bunch up.
We have Absent using a shroom in the middle of the track there.
It looked like he used it to get up the hill. Maybe he's less confident that his SSMTs would, be tight enough to take him up the hill.
That is fair. I mean, there is really no bad shroom spot on Toad's Turnpike as long as you're not shrooming directly into the fence. So we have 5174 out of Absent, 5542 out of Slim, so a big advantage. Slim does technically have the shroom advantage, but you're going to need more than one shroom to make up 4 seconds, so...
Ooh, and Slim... right into the back of that school bus. Or whatever it is.
And Slim's just not having it right now. He bonks his shroom into the fence, as I said. That is the only bad shroom on Toad's Turnpike, really, is if you get caught up in that fence, and that is exactly what happened to him. So, major advantage is going to Absent right now. Absent looking to close out this set strong. But Absent still will have to deal with the larger cluster of vehicles at the end of lap 3. Because that is the point on this track where the vehicles are the most annoying to deal with, and he does get a little bit caught up in the fence there, but both players with one shroom left, and as soon as I say that, Slim uses his last one, so Absent has a large lead and the shroom advantage.
He uses it up the hill in the same spot. So I think we should see, Absent may even be able to afford to take a hit and still take this track. You see the traffic bunching up here, as TMP had indicated.
But Absent, for the most part, taking it safe, not really trying to MT through any of those vehicles, and gets across the line at a 2:35.19 clip, and that'll be easily enough to take set 1. And so, potentially the, mathematical underdog, in the sense that Absent is the lower ranked player, takes the first set here, 4 tracks to 2. These players, when you're talking about the kind of ranks that these players are, there's not that much of a differential. Really, there anything can really happen between these guys, but that is definitely the start that Absent wanted. You always want to come out firing, and now you have Slim will have to be playing on the defensive. You have any predictions for what strategies Slim will be attacking here in set 2?
Let's see here. Waiting to see, we might not see a Joker usage quite yet. Those can be used to close out a set kind of strategically, to make a real strong play where you think you can get it, your opponent's going to fail, such as a shortcut or a risky fast slap that you may be particularly strong at.
Yep, that is... I would have to agree with that assessment. And Slim is sticking to the driving courses. We saw him picking stuff like Luigi earlier. He now takes us to potentially one of the most technical tracks in the game, in Wario Stadium.
And they are very close here, so we should expect a good match.
Yeah. Wario Stadium is one of those tracks, it's second longest track in the game, only behind Rainbow Road, and it's another one of those, it's like, how clean are your MTs? But unlike Rainbow Road, where it's like nothing but strict MTs, Wario Stadium, you have a lot of changes in elevation, hills, bumps, like it's almost like some kind of like, I don't know, a dirt bike track or something. Like,
yeah,
so,
I would say like a motocross track, yep.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of different techniques you have to do, certain drifts that you have to hold out longer than you'd normally be used to, and it's to see how these players can handle that.
It can be made pretty consistent, if you're grinding out this track for a while, but if you're a little bit rusty, a little bit unsure, there's a lot of places you can trip up here.
Absolutely. And once we get this synced up, we'll be able to get a more accurate comparison here. I would have to say Slim is definitely ahead so far. This shroom spot actually can be an interesting one. If you angle just a tad too far right, you can get him tumble off that wall.
Absolutely. It's you can see Absent going wide there to make sure he's not tumbling. Slim takes a tighter line and executes it cleanly.
Yeah, and also neither of these players went for there's a technique just a little bit earlier on known as the flip-flop MT, which is a higher level technique that can save you a decent amount of time, but quite honestly, I don't even know if I'd be... Well, I did attempt it one try, but we don't talk about that. Yeah, it's not something I would have expected to see at their level yet anyway. And we have a pretty close race. Slim up 0.4 seconds, but on a track this long, that can fairly easily be made up. Thank you, Dossie, and yes, host's finger. Yeah, the schedule is, and that's the thing too, the schedule is from last season. I need to, I've been trying to get into the SpeedGaming server to get them to update that. I don't know why they still, yeah, it still has last season's schedule. So apologies for that. Anyway, let's see. Coming out to the hill, Slim does definitely still have an advantage here. I think he's built up a little bit on it. Maybe just driving a tad quicker than Absent has been. We'll see if that's realized in the lap times here. Actually, though, I think Absent did clean up at the very end of that lap, and he actually gains a very, very modest 0.02. So somewhere around, still about the same deficit, about 0.4 seconds.
And that could disappear with a wall bonk or a minor mistake or two. So this should come down to the wire.
And we see fairly conservative shrooms out of both of those players. Don't want to risk tumbling, especially with a course this tight. I think Absent has been picking up time. And as soon as I say that, the drift does not go through and gets a little turned around there on the hills. Even though I think he still might have that advantage over Slim. It's pretty close.
It is amazing how close to 4 minutes of driving can come right down to it.
Yeah, I'm seeing. But Absent is definitely has made up a lot of time on this lap. This was an amazing lap 3, and I think that's going to give him the win. Yeah, 1:15.66 lap 3. He just takes the best lap of the course there by over half a second. So that's another point out. That's when you need to have your clutchest laps right there. That I could tell that was very clean driving from Absent. I think Absent even added in a couple extra MTs that he hadn't been doing on laps 1 and 2, and that really works dividends for him. And Absent has decided, I don't want to drive something that's like almost 4 minutes long again. We're going to go to one of the shortest courses of the game. We're going to Wario Raceway. Now, when it comes to Wario Raceway, Ben, you can't come to Wario Raceway without discussing the mushroom cut.
Yep.
So
it depends, how these players are feeling themselves today. It's a very relatively risky cut for one tries, and I believe it saves you maybe 0.2, 0.3 per lap, which doesn't sound like a lot, but on Wario Raceway with a lap about 25 seconds, it's a meaningful difference. But you do have to jump straight through one of these piranha plants in order to make it through cleanly.
Yeah, so we got to see a lot of times in one tries around these levels, it's just how do you feel about the risk reward? How comfortable do you feel with it? Some players, they'll take about the half second or so loss, or however much it exactly is, and they'll just go around the mushroom. But if you're feeling risky or you need to make up some time, they may go for it. So we shall see.
Bit different strategy here at the beginning, with Absent going around on the course, and both of them going around the mushroom as well.
Indeed.
And Slim does bonk the wall there before the shroom spot, so that might cost him a bit.
Yeah, it's going to be about 0.7 second difference there going in the lap 2. Advantage Absent. Absent has actually been quite present today, if you ask me.
I concur. Oh, and Slim, knowing he might be behind, makes a clean mushroom cut.
Indeed. And that was Slim had a much nicer lap there.
Brings it back by more than a second. Interesting to see what he'll do here. If he plays it conservative, he does not. He gets through cleanly. So barring a major mistake, he's going to take this.
Oh, and unfortunately there, I actually just saw a message. I know what just happened there to Absent, and that was very unfortunate. For some reason, his Project 64 window just decided to completely screw up on him. So there's a little freeze there as that happened. But yeah, in any case, Slim evens up the set. Yeah, that was going for those mushroom cuts definitely paid off for Slim on laps 2 and 3. He knew he had to make up that time with how much he had been set back on lap 1. But we have a nice even set here, and Slim has the pick again, and we're going to Koopa Troopa Beach. another fun variance-induced course. And as was mentioned earlier in the chat, actually, is the only course in the game with like an actual designed intentional shortcut and time trials. Now, why does this still suck so much for us players, Ben?
Well, it can be deceptively hard to drive that little bit straight towards the ramp to make it into the tunnel. Can't go too far to the side. You can't even jump off the time. Sometimes you can hit the top and tumble out, and then you're set back about 8 or 9 seconds if you have to drive around. That's we call it the tunnel RNG. Of course, it's always up to the driver, but feels like it sometimes.
Yep, absolutely. That actually, the sand even leading up to that ramp is a little bit sloped to the right, and that causes disaster a lot of the time. Ashley did point out, I did kind of neglect to mention that Yoshi Valley hairpin could also be considered intended. So that is a fair point.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. You know, playing this game as I was much younger when it came out in the 90s. You know, I think all of us figured it out at that point, so I think the designers did have that built in, kind of as an Easter egg.
And speaking of the tunnel, Absent does miss it the first time, but does get the backup jump, so does not lose too much. But he is going to be behind Slim now. Both players using the shroom more so through the water, slightly later than the traditional shroom spot, but still viable. This time Absent gets a clean jump through the tunnel. Slim did as well, so Slim will have the advantage. 28.42 versus a 27.95 from Absent. Absent does make up some time, and since on the failed tunnel he did get the backup jump immediately, there is a chance that he could make this up with better driving. We'll have to see how Slim does on the final tunnel jump. Slim gets in easily. Absent also makes it in, but I think that's just going to be enough for Slim to take the track here. So, and look at that. We have the double flashing numbers out of Absent with the tied lap 2 and 3. That's something you don't see all the time. It's not as far as I can tell, it's not a true PR, but
yeah, and unfortunate for him for that first lap, because you can see by the rest of the splits, those sub 28s in one try, that's pretty clean here.
Yeah, that would be like one sub 124 pace, as a matter of fact. And I had something interesting happened here. Okay, there we go. For a second, I got a bad gateway on the tracker website. You know, that's not supposed to happen.
I'm seeing the same thing, but now it finally loaded.
There we go. And yeah, we had a quick break from Slim there just because he had a control stick issue, I believe. But that should be situated now. So that's why we have a blue screen right now going on. There we go. And so Absent is going to be taking us to Choco Stupid Mountain. Now, unfortunately, due to the lyrics of Choco Stupid Mountain, this is not a song I'm going to be singing on stream. But instead of singing, why don't you, Ben, tell us about what the players will have to deal with on the Stupid Mountain, and why do we call it stupid?
Well, it's any casual Mario Kart player may recognize this as what feels like an extremely fast and twisty course. Um, the walls can be varying textures. Some of them kind of bounce you off, and some of them will just grab your cart and slow you to a crawl. There's a hairpin turn with falling chocolate boulders that, again, if you get off your pace, you're liable to be squashed by one.
Absolutely.
And just for fun, at the end, there's a set of hills, and you can help your case by making a clean mini turbo right before them, but it's hard to get what we call a good set of hills where you don't get bounced off the top and slowed down.
And we have another interesting sync thing happening here. Wait to figure out how much we're delaying here. There we go. That'll be situated in us momentarily here. But it appeared Slim was off to a pretty good start, at least at a minimum. He didn't deal with any boulders. Absent catching up, and as you can see, Absent's using cheat codes to free Slim's side of the screen to allow him to be able to catch up. Absent using a shroom. Slim has not used one yet. Oh, but Absent has a tumble on the hills. I've heard of bad hills, but that was probably the worst hills. And then he gets caught up on the side as well.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Slim used his first shroom as well now, so the shrooms are equal, but Absent is going to be behind still from that unfortunate incident on the hills.
Fairly clean driving aside from that. So we'll have to see if there's any other mistakes are made or a random boulder squash to even this up.
Yep. Slim did gain more time there, about 0.3 of a second, so barring anything major, he's probably looking to take this one home and take his own 3-1 set lead. And that will be the case. Pretty solid win there for Slim, and he takes 3-1 advantage. Alright, and so Slim is going to be taking us to Sherbet Land. One of the courses where we actually have some living creatures to deal with. We're going to have to watch out for some penguins throughout the course, which are on a cycle that you can be comfortable with if you're racing at your PR pace. But when you're going through a one try and maybe certain events happen, you're just not driving quite as fast as you're used to, those penguins can become a problem, especially inside the cave where you have to use a tight mushroom around a large left turn. The other factor to focus on in this course is the crack jumps, where how tightly you take these or how aggressively you take them can determine how fast you're going. But if you go too aggressively, you'll end up in the water, and not only that, turn into a Yoshi or Peach flavored ice cube. And either way, it is no bueno for your time.
Pretty conservative here from Slim with the crack jump.
Indeed. hoping here that I know Ben was having a little bit of issue with the stream delay, and a little bonk on the shroom and a penguin hit by Slim there, so a large advantage to Absent. We're hoping here Ben hopefully has gotten the stream figured out so it's not as delayed.
I think I've got it.
Good. And with that, yeah, major advantage to Absent, nearly 3 seconds ahead. Absent taking the crack jumps a little more conservatively, and if Absent is seeing the stream and knows that his opponent's hit a penguin, then he'll be able to just know through that he can take this a little more conservatively. But now he bonks the pillar in the cave on the shroom. Slim gets a more clean shroom, and so he picks up some time, but he's probably going to need another mistake of the same caliber if he wants to get back in this one, because that only catches him up about a second. So there's still almost...
Ooh.
And speaking of mistakes of that caliber, Absent is in the water and is turned to ice. And...
He does get a decent rev, but he'll need a big mistake from Slim.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people that talk about Froyo, but that does not stand for Frozen Yoshi, my friends.
Good one.
And Slim takes the last crack jump conservatively. Will we get the swag finish? We do. Very classy finish there by Slim. And way to take the set in style. Absent does not go for the swag finish, but that's okay. I would be a little frustrated. He already had his waterfall. And with that, we have ourselves an even match yet again. Set score is tied at 1. And so Ben, now that we've gotten to see 2 sets from these players, we're coming up on set 3. The track pools are resetting, everything is open again. What kind of strategies do you see these guys pulling out here? They felt each other out a little bit. What do you think they're going to go with?
Well, we haven't seen some of the really high variance courses yet, such as DKJP, Yoshi Valley. So we could see a trend towards that direction to try and shake things up a bit and see who's going to blink.
Yeah, that's very possible, because even though Slim is the higher ranked player, I think both of these players have looked fairly solid on some of the driving courses, so it may be, like you said, in their best interest to try to knock each other out with the higher variance picks, knowing that there's the risk that you yourself may hit that kind of snag. And just as you say it, you mentioned DKJP, and that is where Absent is taking us here at the start of set 3. So what kind of variance are we going to be looking at?
There's all kinds of fun that goes on here. Let's see. Probably the biggest risk is how aggressive to go with there's a large ramp jump over the river. And if you cut farther left, you can get a better time. Cut too far left, and you'll end up in the water. Aside from that, straying off course gets you hit with, I don't know, what looks like coconuts or rocks, which slow you down. And then to take the best time, you're having to cut pretty tightly up a cave wall at the end of the course. And if you go too far to the left, you can tumble. So it's all about a risk-reward strategy here.
The funny thing is actually during a one-try match is the only time the course is roped off, and Ashley is not allowed on the course. So, luckily we will not have to be seeing her. That would actually be pretty interesting if we saw her as another obstacle on this course. But in any case, the DKJP Queen is on the sidelines at this point. So, let's see who will be able to handle the variance better.
I believe we just saw Absent using a shroom here, which is an interesting spot.
That absolutely was. It's not a shroom spot you typically see. I don't know if that was an intentional press or not, and I am really shocked that he ended up in the river there. His jump was not too far left, so he must have bonked the rail on the jump or something.
Yeah, I thought he carried okay speed, and you're right, it wasn't a real aggressive jump. I'm a little mystified there.
Yeah, there must have been a bonk there that I just missed. But in any case, large advantage now goes to Slim. He takes a conservative approach up the cave at the end. And so he will have himself a several second advantage here going into lap 2. Absent with a better cave climb, but when you take a tumble into the river, you almost need your opponent to do the same. And Slim's not going to do it with that jump.
No, going pretty conservative there. I think he probably listening. Oh, we see the boat coming into play for Absent. The boat, like Toad's Turnpike vehicles, also makes you explode and fall into the water for good measure.
And let's not even get into how questionable that boat's hitbox is. It really only becomes an actual obstacle if you've already fallen in, as we saw with Absent there. If you're on a pace where you haven't fallen into the water, you won't have to deal with the boat being in your way. Much better lap there from Absent, but as we said before, unless Slim falls in, I don't think there's a comeback. Absolutely.
Oh, and looks like Absent and almost straight there off the ramp. I think he missed the line he was going for.
That appeared to be the case. And yeah, Absent actually did have very solid driving aside from just the one, again, really weird looking ramp shot. I kind of just missed what happened there, so I'm not quite sure. But in any case, first point of set 3 is going Slim's way. He had to take one of Absent's picks to swing the advantage in his favor, and so that is exactly what he did.
Solid driving from Slim. I think we would see a bit more aggressive ramp jumps there. Yeah, if he knew he was really being pushed by his opponent. But he could take it conservative, and he did so.
Absolutely, and so with the advantage, we'll have to see, is Slim going to go after the same strategy that we talked about before? And it appears that answer is no. He's taking us back to the driving-friendly course of Luigi Raceway. And of course, as we discussed before, there's not going to be much variance here. No major obstacles, no major slowdowns. There's sand and grass, but nothing that can completely bring your run to a halt unless you're somehow hitting a tree.
It can happen.
Definitely can, but is a pretty rare occurrence. Actually, I would like to. I'm going to plug a fellow match that's going on. Starting right now, I believe, being hosted by Mr. Cornhead would be the Twitch account. We have a Division 5 match going on between Mr. Pitt and Acid. Should be hosted on Mr. Cornhead's stream, so unless I've missed any change on that. But so yeah, we have
runners there.
Yeah, we have 2 matches going on simultaneously. Mr. Pitt, of course, the infamous pause out player. Acid has really burst onto the scene as an amazing shortcut player. But anyway, let's get back to the match at hand. Absent and Slim. Beautiful
sync.
Absolutely.
And we did have Absent take this kind of by surprise last time. And as you said, TMP, even though they're separated by, I don't know, about 40, 50 ranks on the standings, in one try that kind of goes away a bit because minor mistakes can even that out very quickly.
Yeah. The thing about, and so here, once again, we'll see that difference in shroom strat. Slim using one of his shrooms lap 1, Absent holding on to his. So there is a second difference, but it's going to be a little not as big of a focus because it's dependent on how good of shrooms these players get. The thing about ranks when it comes to Mario Kart 64 is when you're in both of these players are in the 200s, 40 ranks between them is a lot different than, say, if you're trying to compare. Oh, and we have a bonk on the shroom for Absent on his 2 shroom laps. So that's unfortunate. That's gonna cause some time, and he cannot get a drift to hit to save his life. Very unfortunate there. But yeah, comparing a 40 rank difference in the 200s versus comparing, like, say, number 50 versus number 10, obviously 50 to 10 is a much larger skill gap than, say, the gap between these players.
Absolutely, and the way that we've structured the league, or more accurately, you structured the league, is that 10 and that 50 would be in different divisions this year. That's how big that skill gap is.
Absolutely.
For those two players.
And even with that shroom bonk, Absent almost pulled it back, but with a very solid lap 3, but Slim does hang on, and he goes out to a 2-0 lead in this set. I think
That's
it's
unfortunate for Absent. You would normally see a 2 Schumer lap be in the 32s, and so that's close to a second slower than it could be, and he would have taken that easily.
And yeah, quite honestly, yes, this is actually, I think this is the most dominant set opening we see. I think the first 2 sets opened 1-1. So this is the first time we've seen someone jump out to that 2-0 lead. And the next pick, I hope you all like trains, because we're going to Calamari Desert. And this is another, actually, it is a driving heavy course, but there is one specific facet of variance. How will these players deal with the trains, Ben?
Well, it comes down to how cleanly they think they can drive and how many mushrooms they think they need to use in order to beat the train. First at the first crossing in lap 2, and then again at the second crossing in lap 3. Because if you have to stop and wait for the train to pass by, I mean, it pretty much constrains you to getting a much slower time. So beating that train is kind of the first priority. But if you have to use all your mushrooms to do so, then you're left at a disadvantage.
And yeah, both players using their first shroom at about the same spot here. Yeah, it really comes down to the strategies we most commonly see around these levels is either both players using all 3 shrooms on lap 1, or will sometimes... Yeah, that's going to cost him actually pretty big, especially with this first train on lap 2. But yeah, I was going to say, we sometimes see all 3 shrooms lap 1, and other times we will also see 2 shrooms on lap 1, followed by that third shroom being either on lap 2 if you're behind, or lap 3 if you can save it for after the train. And look at this. We had to wait for the train crossing here on both of these players. Absent was able to stop. Slim had to ended up running into the train. We're on some very interesting train cycles. I've never had to see these ones before. Neither player has a shroom at this point.
Absent got a much better start because he wasn't tumbling when the train passed by.
Absolutely, and also I think Slim might have bonked another one of his shrooms in there somewhere, so he loses another 3 seconds. Absent is way ahead here.
Looks like he'll cross behind this train without an issue.
Yeah, he's at a pace where, that won't be an issue. And actually, Absent going super conservative, following the path here, emptying through the off-road, weirdly enough, is actually the quicker path, as you see Slim doing. But even though it is, that's not going to be enough to make up for the lead. Absent has ascertained here, and he will cruise to the victory on track 3 of the set. So we had some quite the interesting Calamari Desert, actually.
Yeah, I was curious to see Absent's hill hop strat there on lap 2, because I thought that the mid 35 is maybe just enough to squeak past that train if you have a clean curve there at the beginning of the second lap.
Yeah, I was actually really shocked to see that. That's something you don't tend to see until significantly higher up in the rankings, but props to him for going for it. You love to see that kind of aggressiveness. And Slim is going to be taking us back to what we saw first pick of the match from Absent in Banshee Boardwalk. And if you recall, neither player drove Banshee like super poorly by any means, but Slim just overall was the cleaner out of the two of them, and he was able to take this fairly handily. And want to see if that repeats or if Absent is able. Yeah, and Dossie actually making a. Yeah, Dossie's making a point in chat. Dossie's rank 50, and he does not do the hill hops on Calamari Desert, just to put that strategy into perspective.
Yeah, it is without using the shroom like we do on lap 1. I believe it's very hard to execute properly and make it faster than going around. So it'll be interesting to see if we see any more nerves at this point in the set than we did at the very beginning.
That very well could be the case. In Banshee is a course that actually nerves show very clearly on this course with it. And speaking of nerves, Slim ends up into the water there. And so, again, we have a large advantage going to Absent. Absent just has to stay on the track pretty much, and he'll have the win.
That tight little S-turn with no guardrails can really get you, because of course it's faster to do a mini turbo around at least one of them, but that can send you off if you have the wrong angle.
Yeah, and the higher you go up, you actually start seeing players that do two MTs on that S curve, and that's like, that gets to a whole different level of frightening. But yeah, I was just getting to the point as Slim ended up in the water too soon for me to finish, but Banshee is a course where nerves can really be shown due to the fact that there's a lot of tight turns, very unforgiving corners with these rails, and then also very unforgiving corners that don't have rails at all.
Absolutely. And then the 4 tight corners in the house there, if you take one a little too tight, you can just hit that wall perpendicularly. It stops you dead. And
yep.
You have to A-B spin out and try to recover. It's almost probably as slow as falling in the water.
Yeah, and look here, Slim's going to be in a position where he's using all 3 of his shrooms on lap 3 because of the angles he was getting. He was not even able to use a shroom on lap 1 or 2. But yeah, once again, Absent just didn't have that glaring mistake like we saw from Slim ending up swimming with the fishes on lap 1. So that's just going to be another pretty easy victory. And of course, after we come out with that 2-0 lead, it's even right back up to the match.
Notice Absent improving by 2.4 seconds from his last time here.
Yep. And now, if anybody would like to go, I don't know, get a snack, get something to drink, take a shower, read a book, fly across the country, now would be a good time to do that, because we're going on to Rainbow Road, and it's not a joker of any kind. We're not getting a shortcut. We're not getting a flap. This is the full 5+ minutes. And thankfully, it's only 5+ minutes, as these runners are on NTSC. But this is the purest of the pure driving courses. And so we're going to be here a while, folks. This is kind of the talk with the chat course, unless you see somebody hit a chomp. Because it's kind of hard to judge what little things are causing people to gain and lose time.
It's worth noting here, this is a very strong course for Absent. He's more than a second faster here than Slim, and about half a second faster on the fast lap as well.
Yeah, and as you see there, Absent does the little start boost SSMT to get a little bit more speed, but Absent does not do the trans sticking to the track on that hill, while Slim did. So I think Slim does gain some time on that. So basically what I'm saying is a whole bunch of stuff happened and we're pretty much back to even.
Generally how these go.
Yep.
Passing the first chomp here.
This is absolutely a banger, Dossie.
And we have Rabbit saying, turn the beat up. Yep. It is a pretty epic soundtrack here we're listening to.
Can I actually... Yeah, it looks
he
like...
alluded to it, but probably the only variance we really see here is these chomps that weave back and forth across the track as they go down the track. And like many elements of the game, they're fixed from the start that you, from the time that you start. And if you're on a good pace, you know where they are. But usually in a one try, you're off your pace by a bit, and it can be a little challenging to avoid them, but still not too hard.
Yeah, and as Ben also mentioned, so they do like weave back and forth in kind of a zigzaggy pattern, as you can kind of see. And if you're on your PR pace, there are just certain spots where you know, I need to go to the inside of this chomp, or I need to go to the outside of this chomp. But if you're a little bit ahead or a little bit behind that pace and you're not used to it, if you're behind your pace, it can sometimes happen that where you'd normally go inside, the chomp is zigging when you normally see it zagging, and you can end up flying straight up into the air, losing about a second and a half, 2 seconds.
And with that N64 quality, you see them coming around the curve. It's very hard to predict where they actually are on the track. So that's an added difficulty from our beloved 90s hardware.
Absolutely. And then we get a little bit of a bonk on the shroom there. Absent has been going for the drift with the shroom, which sliding with the shroom is faster, but if you bonk the wall, it obviously is not, and so Slim definitely gained some time there. They're pretty even, and there we go. That's the first one where we see on a normal PR pace, Absent obviously is one of them. I know this affects myself too. I would be going inside that chomp, but when you're in these one try, sometimes you get a little bit behind, and that chomp is just cutting in, and it's not room. And so Slim just has to drive clean. Another thing, we'll to work with Absent at some point. Learning the trans strat there definitely could cut him some decent time, but that of course means that you also have to race Rainbow Road non-shortcut, and it's not something that people often want to do.
It's definitely a bit of a grind when each attempt takes, more than 5 minutes. Also, a tad bit less risky, not that players at this level are prone to flying off the track, but if you keep your wheels planted with that trans style, you're not going off over the rails.
And Dossie made a comment. Yes, I would have to agree with that this is probably one of the hardest streams in the game. To be able to keep an angle that's not running into the wall there. I mean, even getting the drift off alone is difficult.
Yeah, what you just alluded to, as the road goes from sloping down to even to sloping up, the timing of your cart in the air and when you can set your drift angle changes, and that's part of the reason why it's so hard to get that proper angle. And to do it optimally, you need to do a mini turbo out of it, which is not easy.
And Absent did try to pull it back despite the chomp hit. As you can see there, just from the laps 1 and 3, where neither player was really making mistakes, Absent did outdrive, but that chomp hit was enough to cover that difference, and Slim takes the 3-2 lead. And we're going back to the beach. Back to one of the shorter courses. Koopa Troopa. And last time we were here, we did see, remember, on the laps that he drove cleanly, Absent was clearly outdriving Slim. It was just the fact that he got caught up not making the tunnel jump on lap 1.
Absolutely. And this is a deceptively tricky course to drive fast. The corners aren't real defined, where you mini turbo, sometimes it could be a little different, it's not as apparent as a course with hard right angles such as Bowser's Castle. And so drive cleanly with those sub 28 second laps is not an easy thing during one try. We'll just have to see if the tunnel RNG strikes again.
Yeah, definitely. Like most courses in this game, like there is like hard to find, like you said, hard to find edges to the track, and this is one of those that they're not as clearly there. So yeah, it can make it hard to see where you're losing time even sometimes, but we'll have to see how these players do. And this time it's Slim missing the first jump, and Absent does get through, and the backup is not really working for Slim here. And so a clear advantage for Absent now, and that is also a tree hit from Slim.
Yeah, for good measure. So his first lap about 14 seconds off. It'll take maybe even more than a tunnel miss at this point from Absent.
And a little bit of a bonk shroom there from Absent, but getting through the tunnel cleanly, that's... Well, Absent got null tires around that on lap 3. Something you don't see every day. And now we get a tumble bounce off the ramp. That was... Absent said in the group DM he has some interesting failures.
Ooh, and a tree hit coming out of the tumble here. Tunnel, excuse me.
Yeah, but in any case, even despite those failures, when you have a missed tunnel on lap 1 from Slim, that's just a bit much to come back from. And so we have a 3-3 game here. And so the deciding pick is going to go back to Absent. And I wonder, will we see a Joker usage here? We very well could. This would be the time that you see it used.
Yep. It could be, to pull out a particularly strong play where, you feel very confident, perhaps in a shortcut. I don't believe either of these players have a shortcut timesheet, but that doesn't stop them from maybe practicing a little bit on the side.
Or even the fast lap jokers are also viable, so we'll have to see. And Absent is taking us back to some variance in Bowser's Castle. And
Interesting pick here going after Slim again, because they are more than 100 ranks apart on their timesheet for Bowser's Castle, but I think, Corbin feeling himself here that he took it with pretty clean driving last time.
yeah, so we could definitely see that happen again. Sometimes with one tries, like the ranks like that don't even matter. And oh, nice, we got a raid coming in from CMEX, so thank you for that. Got some more kart players or kart enthusiasts coming in, kart fanatics even. But so sometimes, yeah, what your rank is on the timesheet doesn't matter as much. If you feel warm on something and like you feel like you're performing well on it, and you feel comfortable with how you're performing on it one tries, it's something you can definitely pull out, even if in a long time trial session the other player might have the advantage. In one shot, you might feel a lot more comfortable than they do.
Absolutely.
Let's see if that applies. Ooh, and Absent having an early snag on the wall, unfortunately.
With getting through the guard thwomps cleanly.
And the sliding room as well, where it was last time on this course we had, well, and Absent gets a little caught up at the bottom of the stairs. Last time through, it was Slim on, I believe, lap 2, trying to get past the guard thwomps, got caught up on the wall pretty majorly, and it cost him a lot of time. This time he's the one out to the early advantage.
And a 38.79, I think it was. Pretty clean first lap from Slim. Then Absent hitting the bush there with the shroom across the grass. Won't gain him any time back here.
Yep. Both players still clean through the guard thwomps and the sliding thwomps. Well, yes, so far here still Slim with the advantage. Absent unfortunately does not get the MT on the spiral, and that's going to make the rest of that slower than he wants.
Slim, I thought, with a very nice spiral, still sub 39.
Yep. And he gains more time on that lap, and so we're just looking how clean does the driving get here, and Slim does get through the guard thwomps, as does Absent. Let's see how the sliding thwomps go. They have pretty good cycles, both of them get through again.
Oh, Absent get hung up at the bottom of the stairs.
Yeah, Absent gets caught in the corner, and there's a little bonk there from Slim too, but yeah, that's going to seal the deal here for Slim, and Slim is going to take set 3.
Set 2. Well, I guess it's the third set.
Well,
Sorry,
yeah,
his
third
second
set. It's his second, his second set 3. Yep.
And Slim noting here we took that set out to the full 7 games.
Yep, absolutely. These players definitely not showing that 40 rank difference here tonight. Even though, like we said multiple times already, it doesn't matter as much in the one try setting. Yeah, no, I misclicked the first time. It worked now.
We'll have to see. Okay, Here we
Ooh,
go.
back to Wario Stadium. Wait. Ooh, do we have a change?
Epson perhaps reconsidering his pick.
Yeah, we'll just see. Ah, there we go. That's the high variance we're looking for.
And Absent taking us down to the farm. Moo Farm here with the RNG moles. Every time, some karting legends of the past have done some analysis here, and every time you cross over a mole hole, you have about a 40% chance of being hit. So you have to pick a tight line or pick a safe line.
Yeah, pretty much. And this is like, there are a couple other things, like namely the crabs on Koopa Troopa Beach that are also RNG, but the moles on Moo Farm are the most apparent and most annoying RNG track feature. And yeah, like Ben said, about a 40% chance every time you go over one. And it can be annoying because sometimes even if you drive underneath one, it still will count as a hit or stuff like that sometimes. And also, the terrain on this course is not friendly either. The terrain is not friendly, and some of the turns are not even that friendly.
Yeah, and what Team P is talking about here is it can make it very hard to set the right angle for your drift. It can make it hard to even establish a drift at all.
Yep.
And it's very different than driving on a flat track.
Yeah, lots of bounciness, kind of like a very short version of like Wario Stadium. And there is the first mole hit. And so Absent does not even get to use his shroom here on lap 1. So advantage to Slim at the start of this set. Slim could choose to just take a conservative route around the moles. Absent knowing he needs to go more aggressive, and he is back into Mole City. And he unfortunately leads the mole hit counter 2-0. Well, make that 2-1. Slim pays one back.
Slim
Absent with
to even it up here.
Yeah, and Absent with a very risky shroom there, but does not take any moles that time. This time he goes safely around the outside of the first mole patch.
And we're seeing Slim take a line here through the first patch, which actually doesn't take him over any holes, and that is a popular line.
Yep.
Absent being very risky here, but getting away with it.
Unfortunately, it's just not enough time save to make up for the mole discrepancy, and Slim basically takes the set by the differential of a mole hit, seconds-wise. And so the driving was pretty similar otherwise. And so that's first point of this set to Slim. And Slim is taking us back to Wario Raceway, which, from what we saw last time, is a good pick for him. He definitely drove it more cleanly than Absent did the first time through, and Slim also, even on laps 2 and 3, went risky and took the mole cuts. Or the mole, wrong course, mushroom cut. That saved him immense amounts of time compared to Absent's driving.
It will be interesting to see if there's no major mistake here, whether both players play it safe and do not take the cut.
Yeah, because Slim started taking it when he was already down 0.7 seconds, and that's what kind of brought him back into it. So I don't know if he took it for that reason, or if that was his plan going in. But either way, yeah, we will have to see what these players' strategy on that mushroom cut is.
Okay.
Okay.
Abney, okay.
And off to the racing we go. Don't smoke Marioro, kids.
Bad for the lungs.
Now, Slim took the more standard path through the grass at the beginning of the lap, whereas Absint's being a little more safe and sticking on the track. There's some weird spots on this course where it's actually quicker to hop around through the off-road than staying on the track. And Slim took advantage of that, and he has the advantage going into lap 2. Getting a sub-26.
Also taking the track around the mushroom as opposed to cutting it a little tighter.
Yep.
Probably also going to consistently lose him time lap over lap.
Yeah, but Slim still, this time on lap 2 goes mushroom cut less. And yeah, so far right now,
commanding position here, as long as he drives it cleanly. And he chooses the mushroom cut.
And that is going to cost him the track, unfortunately. Unfortunately, you really do hate to see that. You can't fault him for the aggressiveness because, like, you feel like it's pretty even. Especially, like, if you're watching this on, like, SpeedGaming trying to even get the edge, which people do, there's so much of a delay that it feels pretty close. So you go for that mushroom cut lap 3, and that time it just unfortunately ends up costing Slim. And so the point goes to Absent. And we're back even. And we're going to have here our first Joker usage, as Absent is going to take us to Royal Raceway and pull out the Fast Lap Joker. And so you actually saw Absent using some of the Fast Lap shrooms earlier. The rule with the Fast Lap is it does have to be done on lap 1, even though normally at higher levels you'll see players start to do their fast lap attempts on lap 2 to save time. In this one try league, they have to be done on lap 1. And in addition to the normal shroom spot you saw on the 3 lap attempts, that grass area that Absent had cut off before with a left facing MT, that is the normal first fast lap shroom spot. The typical 3 lap spot is the second fast lap spot, and then right at the end around the finish line, cutting off that little grass section is where the 3rd shroom gets used. And that can be a very dangerous make or break shroom where you can see players cut it a little too far inside and end up in the water before the finish line. Or if you shroom a bit too early, you can also kind of tumble into the water anyway.
Yeah, there's a weird polygon that will just eat your mushroom. You can drive over it normally, but when Absent with a bit of an early shroom here, that's an odd position to use it. Maybe because he was going off with his SSMT.
Perhaps. That shroom is more common in, like, it can be seen in shortcut attempts. So yeah, it looks like he's using that shroom instead of the one at the end of the lap that I was talking about. It looks like that's Absent's plan. Slim is a tad behind, but he also still has that shroom advantage. So I think Bari, if they both drive everything else equal, if Slim has a shroom that doesn't send him out of bounds, he should take this one.
Slim with a clean shroom.
And that's exactly what we saw.
So Slim takes it by about half a second that he gained over driving that corner on the road.
Yep. Absent, like I said, Absent went with the shroom more so at the start of the race, but you'll more so see that on shortcut attempts, but it does save some time, unfortunately, not as much as So yeah, I think Slim is going to be taking us back to Sherbet Land here. And we had quite a few mistakes present on this course last time. It was actually Slim is the one that had the early mistake inside the cave on the first mushroom, where he kind of bonked the wall and then also bonked off a penguin. But then Absent ended up in the water on lap 2 and gave the lead back and then some. So we'll have to see, how cleanly will these players drive it, or will they be a little gun shy and take some things a little more conservatively based on how the track went last time? Your thoughts, Ben?
Well, we might see Slim take it a little more conservatively this time, if I had to guess, because his lap splits, if I remember correctly, were laps 2 and 3 were both under 34 seconds, and Absent did not have a single split under 34. So that might tell Slim, take it a bit conservatively, just get across the finish line without mistakes, and he may be able to take it.
I agree with that, yeah. That's... We'll see if we see that. Most players going very conservative at the opening crack jump. Neither player really able to get a drift around that second crack jump, so they're both forced way outside.
Slim getting hung up there on the wall and sent into the corner instead of across the crack.
Because both players also have to go outside the penguin on the first shroom, but both players get a clean shroom off.
Slim with a very risky jump there, but he makes it.
Absolutely, and he, well, even still, actually, is behind Absent by almost 2/10. Both players
I think he had gone pretty much entirely around that big crack on the first lap. Which
Yep.
I think cost him quite a number of tenths.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't quite see what happened here, but so Absent is using the cave exit shroom instead of the typical spot. I don't know if he just didn't like the angle or the penguin cycle, one of the two. But in any case, he still gains more time on Slim, so you said Slim needed to take it a little more conservatively, but actually this lap 3, he needs to go all out because he's now behind nearly half a second, I believe.
Yeah, and that at this point, when he bonks his shroom, that may be too much to make up just with driving.
But yeah, Absent actually ran into the penguin there. That was really unfortunate to see. Yeah, that penguin actually just kind of decided the race.
Oh. And we have the swag finish. The Slim takes it.
As you can see, Absent won laps 1 and 2, and then, yeah, the penguin does not lie. You know, I don't understand why they feel the need to get into the way. Shouldn't they realize that this is a race course? Like, come on, man. You shouldn't walk in front of a go-kart. Also, I don't understand how they're able, like, they just get hit full speed, like 60, 80 kilometers an hour with a go-kart, and they're like, yo, sup? Like, interesting.
One thing with these lightweights, but you know, for them to bounce off Bowser or DK like that is impressive.
Yeah, you know? Alright. Slim. Yeah, Slim's at match point. Here. Absent does have the pick.
That's a good point. Slim has kind of quietly taken control of this set, and he's got a few match points here lined up.
Yeah, absolutely. He just has, like, if Slim is able to win one of these next 3 picks, the match is over. Meanwhile, Absent has to win 3 in a row here just to stay alive. And he does pick quite a variance-inducing course to do it on. He takes us back to the other cold course, Frapp Snowland.
Both players with some pretty clean driving, no major mistakes, but I think 4 out of the 6 shrooms that we saw were kind of all over the place. So it'll be interesting to see whether it gets better or worse from here.
Yeah, from what I recall, last time both players were so focused on the shrooms on making sure they did not end up too far left and going out of bounds that they would end up either hitting that snowbank to the right, like after the first hill, or they would end up super far left to avoid the snowmen. And to be fair, it is not an easy shroom to get off. Like we were talking about earlier, how Rainbow Road might be the most difficult shroom. Do the Mies and Coconut Mall know how to move out of the way of the carts? No, they do not.
I think that was that was back in reference to our penguin conversation.
Yeah. Absolutely. But yeah, this is not an easy shroom to hit either. There's some weird MT charging you have to do to get it ideally. But in any case, let's see what happens. We didn't have any snowman hits last time though, from what I recall.
No, not even with the... We tried to curse them with our commentator's curse last time, but it didn't work.
Yeah, that's why I did it again.
Oh, we get a large bounce here from Absent left, and Slim goes right.
Yeah, both players had interesting interactions on their shrooms there. It looks pretty neck and neck. Like 0.04, he can't get much closer than that, so
Just
slight advantage for Slim. Yep. Slim with the frame lead. Ish.
Oh, and a snowman hit.
Yeah, there it is. Slim does get the first snowman hit, and this time, Absent going with a much more aggressive shroom, but he hits a snowman, and Slim hits another one. So the commentator's curse does come through this time.
Back into effect.
So it's funny, yeah, Slim hit one, Absent hit one to give that advantage right back, and then Slim had about the same bounce over the shroom and just couldn't control his cart and went directly into one. that was a precarious drift right there.
Yes, it certainly was. Oh, Absent not hitting a snowman, but he gets tumbled on the back of the mountain.
Yeah, and a little bit caught up there as well. This is going to be a tight finish. Oh, but Slim got caught up there. That was unfortunate. And so I didn't see exactly where he got caught up on the wall there, but that is going to be a point in Absent's favor, and he stays alive for now. Wasn't you this? Yeah, I don't know who's putting those on the track. Aha! And okay, we just had to clarify some things because we have a Joker usage. As you saw, I took out the Slim shortcut Joker. We are going to Toad's Turnpike, and we're doing the shortcut. We had to clarify a couple things because there is a shortcut that is Japanese exclusive, and had to remind Absent just in case he was considering it that because Slim does not have the Japanese version, the Japanese shortcut, which would save a lot more time, is not allowed in this attempt. So most likely what we'll be seeing is some version of... Actually, I should let my color commentator do this. Ben, explain what we're going to be seeing here with the shortcut.
So I have to pass the ball back to you because I'm much less familiar with the old shortcut.
Fair enough. So, if you've seen the map of Toad's Turnpike before, it's kind of like a figure 8 type shape. So, right around the point where the upper portion, like the track goes over, like that little part of the figure 8 where it crosses, basically
See there in the thumbnail.
Yeah, both players, right around there, they'll try to attempt to get stuck in the fence. And then, as soon as they get placed down by Lakitu, they'll try to, like, immediately spin to the right and jump down onto the track below because of a nice effect known as the Lakitu effect, where for a short time after going out of bounds, Lakitu can't pick you up again. And so, that is most likely what we'll see these players try to do. So you see Slim there does get stuck. And then does get through that. He does go into the water, but he will get placed on the track below. There we go. Absent on the second time does get through the fence. But I don't know if he got through there fast enough or not.
No, it appears not.
No, yeah, because you do have to do the turn right away. Because it's based on the Lakitu effect.
Yeah, and what Team P is referring to here is a few seconds after Lakitu has set you back down, the game actually doesn't allow him to pick you back up again. And so when you make this shortcut successfully, you're going back through the wall, and Lakitu would normally pick you up, but instead you travel further into the out-of-bounds section and get placed down in a different area of the track.
And so you can see Slim's having some difficulties of his own with this shortcut, although Absent still is stuck on lap 1, unfortunately.
Slim deciding to drive non-shortcut here, which is exactly what yours truly would do.
There's no official rule on shortcuts, and we have a pause out by Absent. That is going to be a concession, a DNF, as it were. So as long as Slim finishes driving here, then we will have an end of the match. Because it's based on the Lakitu effect. That's going to pick up the echo again. That's a shame.
Oh, because we switched back over.
Yeah, I switched the audios over because I believe Absent cut his stream. So I wanted to put the audio up. And so you can see Slim's having some difficulties of his own with this shortcut, although Absent still is stuck on lap 1, unfortunately.
Slim deciding to drive non-shortcut here, which is exactly what yours truly would do.
There's no official rule on shortcuts, and we have a pause out by Absent. That is going to be a concession, a DNF, as it were. So as long as... Alright, and there you have it. That will be... game, set, and match. Let me switch this back over. And we'll try to see. So, GG's to Slim on the win. Good competition from Absent as well. We'll see if we can get these guys in now for a post-game interview. All right, let me get them the link to this. We're going to have both of them in here. Yo, what is up, Slim and Absent? How you guys doing?
Well, presently I am feeling mighty annoyed.
That's fair. Considering how that one ended, yeah. I feel you, man, 100%. What about you, Slim?
Well, I definitely understand the sentiment with the last pick. I knew that neither of us had any shortcuts on our timesheet, and I was practicing one off stream just to learn the shortcut, and I didn't even drive it very well. But I thought I would keep that in my pocket in case I ever needed it.
Yeah, and I will say, even though, like, yeah, I know it can be a little, like, as you described it, jank, but, that is kind of the time to use it. If you want to... We've seen that movie before, using the shortcut Joker to take the win, so...
But I have to say, Absent drove really, really well. He had a lot of good runs that I felt like I was driving okay, and then I would look at his time and I was just like, oh my gosh, he's so close to my PR on a one try. So I was definitely sweating it out a lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, specifically the one I wanted to comment on is Absent. It was the first run, or it was the run of Wario Stadium. Your lap 3 was ludicrous. Where did that come from?
I don't know. I mean, it outpaces my PB, at least on average. I think.
Yeah, it was a sub 15. It was a sub 16.
Yeah, 1:15.66, if I recall.
I think it was 56.
56, yeah, it could have been. Well, yeah, no.
Mid 115.
Yeah, either way, still a phenomenal one-try lap. I mean, heck, I'd kill for that.
That was the course that I thought, oh my god, I can't take him to these driving courses anymore because he's in the zone.
Yeah, like you saw it on Rainbow Road 2. I got chomped, you didn't, and I wasn't even more than a second and a half behind you at the end.
I know, you drove really well. I mean, I have to admit it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because Ben and I were actually discussing that, like, as we got into set 3, when the tracks reset and everything, like, Slim came in as the higher ranked player, and yet Absent was absolutely taking it to him on those driving courses. So we're like, at this point, are these guys just going to start picking, like, as high variance as possible and see who crumbles first? So I guess that's actually a good question. When you went into set 3 and saw how things were going, where were your guys' minds in terms of track picks? I guess Absent, you can take that one first.
I was rolling dice. So to speak. I wasn't actually rolling dice.
Right. And as for you, Slim, how did you adjust your track picking there? Because I definitely noticed a change.
Yeah, I was a little bit more hesitant to take the driving courses. And I like Bowser's Castle, for example, and then when Absent took it in in the first set, I was like, maybe I shouldn't take it. So I felt like some of those previous results was starting to impact my decision making for sure. Mm-hmm. I think I had some repeat courses that didn't go the way I expected. So, like, I think in the first couple sets I won on Banshee and on KTB, which I lost in the second time we drove those courses. So Absent drove better than I did on those ones. Mm-hmm. And same with Mario Raceway. Like, there was just a number of instances where he was driving where I had won the first time and then he came back and won the second time. So those were starting to get into my head, and I was trying to avoid picking stuff that we had already seen, but we've already seen like pretty much every course.
To be entirely fair, the second time you did get pwned by the Three Stooges.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
I wasn't actually watching Absint's stream, so I wasn't sure if I needed to be risky or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I missed. Yeah, he's right. I did hit this silly piranha plant.
So Ben, do you have any specific questions for these guys?
A shade of disappointment we didn't see, the favorite for the viewers, the Yoshi Valley, of which there's always a lot of entertainment there. But I understand as a runner, it can be a really nerve-wracking pick.
I mean, the last time I did it, the first time I went through it, I failed the hairpin jump 3 times out of 3.
Oh.
For sure.
I know about those Yoshi Valley runs. Just look up my match history last year and you'll see. But yeah, I was actually just pulling up the schedule here where I was going to check on who you guys had next week. I know actually Slim is on the interdivisional slate next week, and he's got our own commentator here, Ben.
Looking forward to that match. Should be awesome.
Fun.
Yeah, you guys have more of like a friendly kind of deal going on, and meanwhile, Absent, you will be up against Pokemon, I believe.
Huh. Is there a bigger or smaller gap between them and me versus me and Slim?
Let me actually. I
Chris
don't
rated
remember.
higher than me. I can tell you that.
170s or so. 1 second, I have it up. 161.
Yeah, so that is a bigger gap.
I believe he may lead the division in terms of ranks, just ahead of Jamie here.
I think that sounds about right. Yeah, I think Jamie's 2. That's right. Mm-hmm. Or yep. Yep, that's right. Yeah, Max is the lowest in D3. So yep, that is correct. So I guess I'll ask you first, Absent. Based on how this match has gone and knowing you have even slightly higher ranked opponent next week, how do you feel like you're going to attack that?
I feel like I'll be banging my fists on a steel wall until my fingers are numb, or bleeding, or broken, or all three.
So what you're saying is you're picking Yoshi Valley? No, I'm just kidding.
What I'm saying is I'm screwed.
You never know. A lot of weird things can happen in one tries. I mean, I just saw the message light up. Acid hit a Desert Tanko in his one try match.
He might.
He hit the Desert Tanko in the one try, which is absolutely insane.
And did Pitt hit his fence clip?
No way. I doubt it. But in any case, that was a great match to commentate. I hope it was a great match for the viewers to watch, and I hope you guys had fun playing. Let's see. Is there any final question either from the chat, or is there anything? Any final thoughts, Slim, Absent, you guys have?
Yeah, just great game. Absent, that was a lot of fun. Sweated it out for sure. And definitely look forward to hopefully getting another match with you. Yeah, I was really impressed with your driving today. Awesome job.
Likewise.
Both of you guys performed really well. I mean, I know you guys are good anyway, but like I was thoroughly impressed. Wait, was that Absent pulled out the hill hops? That was something I forgot to mention on Calamari Desert.
Yeah, that was an accident.
Fair enough.
Pulled it off.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a very interesting Calamari Desert. That's for sure.
Yeah.
The hype train came.
Literal hype train.
Took out some carts along the way.
Yep.
Sure did.
What about
But-
on KTB when I failed the shortcut and then I wall jumped into it?
The backup jump, yeah, absolutely. That was getting that back up on the first try. That was solid.
Yeah, I've hit it a few times in the past for no other reason than because I wanted to see if I could, and also because I have a little bit of history at 150cc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, gotcha. But anyway, I think we're in a position to wrap things up here. So,
Yep.
Once again, great match, guys. Thank you for being here. Appreciate all three of you. And also, of course, thanks to SpeedGaming for hosting us. And most specifically, I want to say thanks to Diesel Pilot for helping set us up with the sync. Appreciate that. And yeah, I think that's all I got. So thanks again, everyone.
Game.
And have a great night, all of you.